Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. I am Jenn Pike, your host. I am a functional medicine diagnostic nutritionist. I'm a medical exercise specialist, and I have been specializing in women's health and hormones for over 20 years. As someone who has been specializing in that, I'm going to take you through today 9 of the most common hormonal symptoms, signs, messages in the body that I see in women in practice. I am not much different than you. In fact, I'm here in my home. You'll probably see my dog waltz through the door at any given moment and hop onto the pillows there. And I'm a woman as well who has different changes happening in her body. I spend my days teaching and educating women not about what to do, but what to pay attention to. You are going to move through life at so many different points where you're going to feel dismissed. You're going to be feeling signs and symptoms that someone is going to say, well, that's just normal because you're a woman. That's just normal because you're a mom. That's just normal because you're tired. That's just normal because ... You're perimenopausal, you're menopausal, whatever it may be. I need you to pay attention. We're going to go through these 9 different signs and symptoms. And I'm here to tell you these aren't the only things that you might be experiencing, but they tend to be the ones that show up most commonly. So the first one is weight gain. I've never worked with a woman who has not come in some form or way, even if it's like, there's 10 pounds I'm trying to shift out of, or there's 40 pounds, or there's pounds that just continue to build up in my body and I haven't changed anything that I am doing. I don't know what's going on. Nothing I used to do is working, and it's so frustrating. When you are starting to notice that you are accumulating additional weight on your body, the first thing to pay attention to is, does it feel like it's retention type weight, like water retention? Do you feel puffy? Does it actually feel like it's fat mass that you are putting on? Is it specifically in one area of the body? For a lot of women, especially when hormones start to change, they're going to notice it around the waistline. So definitely in through the belly, probably around the area of the bra strap, upper arms, in through the face. Those are the more typical. Now, depending on you, you might be like, I notice a little bit about around my waist, but it's more so in my hips or in my thighs, or I'm noticing that cellulite is increasing or just kind of shifting in the way that it used to appear to how it does now. These are things that you need to pay attention to. When you think about weight gain, I want you to think about this not just in regards to what's at the end of the fork, but as these hormonal changes are happening in your body does become less insulin sensitive, which means that if you used to be able to have more of the sweets and treats and alcohol and sugary lattes and all of those things, and it was no big deal for your system, probably not going to be that way as you get into your mid to late 30s, your 40s and beyond. So you just need to be more cognizant, protein, fat, and fiber at your meals. You also may need to change and shift your approach to movement, focusing more on strength training and lifting heavier objects and progressively overloading your body as opposed to just doing hard, intense cardio all the time. The other thing to pay attention to is if there's any inflammation that's happening in your body that is contributing to excess weight, that's actually inflammatory. So if you have an autoimmune condition, you may notice this. If you have a gut infection, if you have a high level of stress in your life and your cortisol levels are out of balance, you might be noticing this. If you have some liver stagnation, toxicity in your body, all of these things, which is why it is so helpful when you can work with somebody who can help identify what it is that's going on, because then your protocol, your regime, your new lifestyle habits can be more tailored to specifically what's going on in your body. Now, the other thing I'll say about weight loss before we move on to the second sign or symptom is that there's no one fix. There's no quick fix. This is something, especially if it feels like it's been coming on slowly over time, you've got to give yourself that period of time to unwind those habits and really understand what's going on. Now, number 2 that I would say in terms of hormonal imbalances you need to pay attention to are irregular issues with your menstrual cycle. So your period, either it's getting shorter, it's getting longer, you're having breakthrough, bleeding and spotting. You notice that there are clots, that the actual flow has very much changed, that your mood coming into your period has changed. You don't want to dismiss this. So if you notice increased PMS, heavy flow, light flow, you're getting headaches and migraines coming into your period, you have a lot of fatigue showing up. And this isn't something where maybe that's been your pattern all along. I would still encourage that you work with somebody to get to the bottom of that, because having our period shouldn't mean that we lose days out of every single month. Now, if you had a very regular cycle, you had no issues with your period itself, no issues around ovulation, and now you have these new things that are coming up, 100% you want to be working with somebody to check that out. You want to look into blood work. You want to be measuring things like your thyroid, which are very much connected to our actual menstrual cycles. You want to be having a real honest talk with yourself about your lifestyle in terms of your nutrition, your movement, your sleep, really important. And if it is something where there is heavier clots, lots of bleeding, pain, pressure, you need to be going in for a pap smear if you have not had one regularly, and getting things checked at for fibroids or polyps or endometrial changes in the tissue or cyst, those types of things. Don't leave that go. I also, as a bonus in there, would love it if, it was possible that every woman could actually go and see a pelvic physiotherapist, a pelvic floor physio. That can be absolutely game changing. The next symptom is fatigue. So it's normal for us to feel a little less energy throughout the day, but what's not normal is for us to feel like the second we wake up, we're counting down the hours until bed, that we could take a nap at any given moment in the day, that we are literally like dragging ourselves through the day as opposed to feeling energized and vital. So paying attention to that, if fatigue is a huge one to you and you literally feel like you cannot get up and get going without caffeine or without sweets, and that you're just faking it till you make it kind of energy throughout that day, it is not sustainable. That is a big sign or symptom that something's going on. Could be your nutrients, could be your minerals, could be your adrenal health, could be your thyroid, could be something else that's going on. So definitely I would be focusing in on paying attention to that one. Now, the fourth one is digestive issues. So this could be pain, this could be cramping, this could be bloating, this could be gas, this could be reflux, this could be big indigestion. This could be every time you eat, you are like exhausted after, you get a headache, you have constipation or you have diarrhea. Really pay attention to this. Your digestive system, this is the root. This is the foundation. This is what's supporting your immune system. If you have an autoimmune condition, multiple sensitivities, your body is super sensitive and reactive, you 100% need to be focusing on what's going on with digestion. If you have hormonal issues, you pull it back to the gut. Liver, gallbladder, pull it back to the gut, like literally everything. So really taking the time and focusing in on what are the things that you consume that actually irritate you. Can you work at removing those out? Can you incorporate digestive enzymes? Can you stop drinking a ton of water with your food? Can you chew your food and sit down in a calm state? Can you start to actually eat foods that are real food, right? Like whole foods, like fruits and vegetables and legumes, and you can digest legumes and healthy animal proteins and healthy fats and all of that, like looking to true real food, colorful, rich, nutrient dense. And when you eat it, you feel satiated, not, oh my gosh, I have to have a nap, or I've got to run to the bathroom, or I have to undo my pants. Really, really connecting to that. If you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, you have H. pylori, you have parasites, gut infections, all these things will show up, not only with the symptoms that I talked about, but skin issues, brain fog, inability to focus, hair loss, weight gain, all of these different issues. So again, if you're like, oh, that's me, I've had digestive issues always, I would strongly encourage you to pay attention and go a little bit deeper. This leads us into skin issues, which is number 5 on the imbalance list. So acne, hugely connected to your gut, your body's ability to drain, to detoxify, to eliminate, and to move on out. Where the hormones come into that is if you are somebody who has unstable insulin. So again, we come back to blood sugar, potentially higher levels of testosterone. You are a 5A converter, which means that you convert more of your testosterone into a 5-alpha pathway, converts into something called DHT, which is multiple times stronger than the way that your body would naturally produce testosterone. So it increases oily skin, sebum that you are producing, pores can get clogged. So it definitely can impact your skin, the hair on your head. If you're someone that notices you get hives, you get rashes, you have eczema, psoriasis, the things we've talked about so far. So addressing the gut and supporting your immune system is going to help to downregulate and support those issues. But you've got to start to peel back the layers of the skin, literally, of what it is underneath that's creating the irritation, because your skin's your largest organ. So if your skin is showing you via the rashes, the hives, the acne, whatever it may be, this is your skin's voice. Like it is like, excuse me, there are things inside I am trying to move out that are not resonating, that are not balancing us. Can you please do something about it? Now, obviously with skin as well too, it could be your products you're using, your environment, your detergent, your makeup, your lotion, all of that. So I really want you to think about it. The other thing in regards to your skin is like, do you have puffy eyes? Do you have dark circles in the skin under the eyes? Do you have a lot of moles, skin tags? Are the changes happening in your nails? All of these things, again, pay attention. Pay attention, ladies, to the changes that are happening in your body. Now, number 6 in my list of imbalances around hormones is that when you have um, big shifts around your food cravings and your hunger cues. So if you used to be somebody that were like, no, I'm fine with portions and I can just eat like 3 or 4 meals in a day and I'm totally good. And now you're saying to me, I'm never satisfied. I'm never full. I literally can't control myself around the cookies or the chocolate or like the salted potato chips or whatever it may be. That is an indication that there is something probably going on. Could be going on with insulin for sure and excess cortisol. Could be leptin and ghrelin. So leptin and leptin resistance. Leptin is it's like the switch that says, I am satisfied, I'm good. You can like put the bowl down, put the fork down and walk away. Ghrelin, I call the gremlin, is like, that's the hunger cue. And so if leptin is not being signaled, you're eating and eating. This is the equivalent of like, you can't just eat one potato chip because the chips come with like the salt, the fat, like the crunch, all those different things in there, the calories, the goodness, you're getting the dopamine hit in the brain. There's literally no nutrients. So your body has no shortage of calories, fat and sodium, and it tastes so good and you're getting reward and you just keep going back for more. But the reason you keep going back for more is that unlike if you were to try and sit and eat an actual potato, like a baked potato with salt on it, there are actual nutrients in that potato and it is more satiating and filling, and you wouldn't be able to eat a bag of actual potatoes, but you sure as heck can do it when they've been fried in their potato chip. There's no nutrients. It's like, I refer to those as air snacks. You're eating calorically dense air. So your body doesn't get that signal. Now, if you have the type of diet where you're skipping a lot of meals, you're filling it in the gaps of processed foods, takeout foods, hydrogenated foods, higher sugary foods, very high palatable foods, right, that have been processed, that starts to shunt your body's ability at that leptin switch being stimulated optimally. The seventh one is sleep disturbances. So much like my sweet little pup Charlie up there, who can sleep anywhere, for most women when they're coming into hormonal changes, that will shift. Now you do have to ask yourself around sleep. Like, is your sleep off because maybe you still have kids who wake? Do you have a partner who snores? Do you have a dog that's trying to sleep on your face? Do you have lights that are on in your room? So your environment, all of that, very important. But at the end of the day, if those aren't the things, and it's that your mind won't slow down, your body is waking in the middle of the night with heart palpitations, hot flashes, mind racing, having to pee, that is something internally and intrinsically going on in your body. And so again, it's like peeling back those layers. As estrogen and progesterone are doing, this kind of hyperactivity leading us into perimenopause where you have highs and you have lows, that is really going to impact your level of sleep. If minerals like magnesium are low in your body, if electrolytes weren't beautifully balanced throughout the day and your sodium and potassium is off, that's going to impact kidney and adrenal health. Your adrenals are where you produce cortisol. If you didn't eat enough during the day, if you ate literally right before you went to bed, you did a hard workout before bed, like all of those things are going to play a role. Again, the whole moral of all of this in today's episode is to pay attention. Now, number 8, we're almost there. We have 2 left to go. This is big mood changes, okay? So I talked about PMS, but I mean like big mood changes where this is either you're like apathetic. This can oftentimes be low testosterone. Like you just don't care anymore. You went from being the woman who, you probably cared too much, did everything for everyone. You were on every committee. You were like, yep, got this, type A plus personality. And now you're like, that used to be me. I don't care anymore. And so when we have lower testosterone, it's I don't care. We don't have the same stamina to like perform. So even with your workouts, the recovery's not there, the results aren't there, your libido isn't there. And it can happen with age, but it can also be triggered by insulin resistance and weight gain. Those 2 things will shunt your healthy testosterone production, as well as not getting enough rest. Now, if we have excess estrogen that is happening, this can also impact the mood. And this can be with like mood swings of really exacerbated PMS and just like the littlest thing ticks you off. That can be an indication of that. The thyroid as well too can dramatically impact your mood. I've worked with so many women who were told that they had depression, and the reality is they were moving through life with a suboptimal thyroid, and as soon as that got supported, guess what else got supported? That mood. Okay, so it's all these things to think about and to consider. Now, number 9, this is the last one, and I just touched on it in this, is if you have a notable difference in your sex drive. And I try not even to say sex drive, because drive is about many things in your life. This is libido, okay? So a variance is normal, right? Having some periods of time like in your cycle. So what you'll probably notice as a woman when you have a regular menstrual cycle and a period is that obviously during your period, you're probably not wanting to be intimate, although there's no hard rule around that. But coming into your follicular phase after your period, when estrogen is starting to rise and then testosterone starts to follow up estrogen, that's typically where you will feel a little bit of that libido spike, especially coming into ovulation. And then usually within a few days after ovulation, that is when we'll start to have a little bit of a down spell of those hormones. And then maybe you're not feeling it as much. And for most women, they'll say the few days before their period is like, you've got to be kidding me. But if you recognize that used to be your norm, or whatever the heck your norm was, maybe you're the woman that is like, no, I could like have sex and be intimate every single day. And now nothing. Like, I don't care if I ever have it again. That's a big change. Those are things that you want to pay attention to. And again, it's like it could be needing to look at the actual hormones of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, the whole gamut of how they play together, DHEA as well too. It also could be big changes in life, big stress in life. It could be issues in the relationship. It could be finances. It could be something happening with one of your kids or another loved one. And so really just again, in all 9 of these I've gone through, paying attention, making note of when things are changing in your body, and understanding that your hormones are a framework and foundation to how we understand so much more that's going on into our system. And the beautiful gift of these hormonal changes and feelings that we have in our bodies, ladies, is that these are messengers. We actually don't have to wonder. We need to lean in, we need to trust our body, and we need to pay attention. Now, the final one that I'll say on this, that is kind of like a bonus one to pay attention to, is if you are noticing massive changes in your hair, the quality of your hair. So if it's drier, split ends, your hair is thinning, your hair is falling out, it's falling out of your head, but it's growing in other places that are not as optimal. This is something else that you really do want to pay close attention to. Now, if you have followed me along in this and you're like, I have checked off literally every single one of those lists in some which way, form, or another, what the heck can I do? I want you to click this link below so that you can find out how myself and my team can work with you, and so that we can create some support. We can teach you, connect you, and help you to understand what is going on or potentially going on, and then lead you in the direction of some change and solutions. So I want to say thanks so much for joining me here today. Once again, click on this link below, and I will see you back here next time.